day, everyone, and today you're welcome to Setro Craft channel. I remain Jacket Soluan Setro, a serial entrepreneur majoring in fashion based in Lagos, Nigeria, West Africa. So, what are we going to be doing today? In some few minutes, we're going to be achieving this reversible corset that you've seen me put on. It's a 2-in-1 corset. You can either have this part or you have the reverse part that is also another fabric, all in one corset. So if you want to know how to achieve this, go nowhere, let's achieve it. Going to the cutting table, it's as easy as A and B and C. I'm going to show you how to achieve the corset with yoke, if you could make it with yoke or without yoke, and it's from the basic bodice pattern. It's as easy. So catch you, let's get started. For our basic bodice, this is just the easiest way for beginners. Yes, so we start from our origin like this. So we determine from this start line, we determine our origin. So I'm just moving 1 inch away. So this will form our origin line. So I'll just root that and call it our shoulder line. This is our shoulder line. Then from our shoulder line, I'm going to be discovering our nipple, shoulder to nipple points, the bust points, then the under bust points, the waistline, and words, the corset length. So shoulder to nipple that we're going to be using is 10 inches. 10 inches. Then to the under bust actually is 14. But I'm going to come up by ½ inch to make sure that it's really ugly. So it grips the bust very well. So 13.5. Then this is the waist point. And this is the length. The waist is 16. The length of the corset is 22. So I'll take it the equidistant position here as well. These, the nipple, shoulder to nipple, to underburst, to the waistline, and to the corset length. So I'll just connect like so. So right now, what's the next thing? This is just like you're doing your normal basic bodies. You're going to take your shoulder measurement. This is going to have a yoke. So you want to take your shoulder measurements because of the yoke. So the shoulder is 15. You're going to be saying 15 divided by 2. That will give us what? 7.5, like this. 7.5 inches. So you remember you have to have your shoulder slope, but let me just achieve the neckline dimensions that we're going to be using. Let's just assume we're using the standard neckline, 3 inches width by 3 inches depth. So you just connect like this. So this is the center front for the yoke. So this is your shoulder point. So you come down by ½ inch or 1 inch. It all depends on how slopey the shoulder of the client is. So I came down by 1 inch, then I connect to the neck width point like this on the shoulder line. So this is what we're ready to get our armhole line or our chest line right now. To get your chest line, you're going to be using this calculation: bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 is my basic bodice pattern story. I'm going to leave the link. So that is giving us 7.8. 7.8, I could just approximate to 8 inches. So I come down this way. This is the chest line. This 8 inches. So you take the vertical dimension and you note that this is your chest line. So it's from this chest line, the chest line. I'm not taking the to the other side. So it's from this chest line, you're going to be achieving your armhole points, just like so. So we're good to go right now. Remember, by the time we're achieving an armhole, to achieve the curve of the armhole, it's just that you discover the midpoints this way, the midpoint of your chest line. This is giving me 4. So you're going to go in by ½ inch on this midpoint. you go in by half inch. You curve out your curve. Yeah, so right now, the next thing I want to achieve is what? Our darts. This method is so easy, just achieving our darts, then with that I'm going to achieve the corset. I might not be using the radius and the up and the like. So what am I going to be doing? I'll just say, what is my nipple to nipple on my underbust point? That nipple to nipple is 8 inches. Right now we want to achieve that for the corset. It's as easy as AMDNC. So you just come to the underbust point and you discover the dart you're going to be using. So our nipple to nipple is 4 inches. That's 8 inches divided by 2 gave us 4. So I'm going to be adding half inch to it, half inch allowance. That is making it 8. That's making it 4.5 inches, like this. So this 4.5 inches point, you're going to take it all around. Just take it to the length of the corset like this. So you take it everywhere on the bust line, just like that. So you now ask yourself, let me just rule out the vertical dimension for that. So remember, this is your bust line, this is your underbust line, this is your waist line, and this is the length of the corset. So on this underbust line right now, you're going to discover the distance between your bust line and the underbust line. It's worth 3.5 inches. So on this bust line, I'm going to go up by that same 3.5 inches. So just like so, you are going to extend this nipple to nipple measurements just to that point as well. So having it like this, the next thing we're going to be doing is what? Taking our darts from the underbust line, and we're going to be taking 2 inches darts. That means 1 inch on the right side and another inch to the left side. So this 1 inch dart here, and this another 1 inch here. Together you're going to be having 2 inches. So on this upper line as well, you're going to be taking the 2 inches dart. So 1 inch this way and 1 inch this way. So we're just going to be taking the dart right now. We're going to be connecting them to the bust point like this. You connect to the bust point, you connect to the bust point, you connect to the bust point, and we're good to go. Yeah. So having your corset that is almost bringing out our corset cuff already this way, it's so easy. So I'll still go back to the fact that what is the distance between the bust line and the underbust line is 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches. So before then, I want to achieve the neckline for the corset. This is the neckline for the yoke of the corset. Right now, for the corset itself, the neckline that I want to be using, its length. The length is 8 inches. 8 inches. So 8 inches is this way. You could use 9 inches. You could use 7 inches. It all depends on your choice. So on that 8 inches corset neckline, I'm going to come inward by ½ inch, just like so. And I'm going to rule it like this. So easy. This is now the center front for your corset. This is the center front for your corset. So you could name it, this is the center front for the yoke. So as you've gotten this, you just say, what's the distance between the bust line and the underbust line? That's 3.5 inches. So you come this way, you get your 3.5 inches coordinates. Then you use your pattern master or whatever curve tool you have. So you're going to connect the points, the corset line to the radius of the corset, the 3.5 inches distance between your underbust and the bust line, and then to the underbust points this way. Can you see that? It's so cool and so easy. And with this, you're having your corset shape in place already. It's as easy as A and B and C. So what's the next thing to do? You just cover up the corset pattern for the right hand this way. So just use this part of your pattern master. And you're good to go. You've gotten one part of the corset pattern. That's your right hand. For the left hand side of the corset pattern, that is always towards the armhole side, your bust is fuller at that side. So instead of your normal 3.5 inches that you added for the length between the underbust and the bust, which is the radius, you're going to add, some persons do add, it all depends on the fullness of the bust. You could add 3.5 inches, 1 inch, you could add half inch, but I am going to add 1/4 inch, please, because I've discovered that my own bust is not too full at that side. So I just added 1/4 inch. You could add half inch if your bust is moderately full. So you could add 3.5 inches or 1 inch if your bust is really full. Please add it. So my own bust is not that too full like that. So I just added 1/4 inch. And because of this point, I'm going to go to this shoulder line on that same point. I'm going to come down by what? Half inch. I come down by half inch on this shoulder point. So I'll just connect them vertically like this. Then this is where I'll be connecting the corset to this point. Can you see that? From the underbust line, just like this. And you're good to go. So you just discover, so you make sure that you have your 3.5 inches. So you connect. Can you see that? Isn't this beautiful? Just as easy as A and B and C. We've cut out our corset pattern. I can really see it's looking like my bust shape because it's not too full and it's just beautiful and okay. So this is corset 1 and this is corset 2. So just like that. And I'm going to be naming it. You know, this is your right and this is your left. So just like that. So what do we do right now? You are going to achieve this same 2 inches dart to the length of the corset. So you come down to the length of the corset like this, just like you have it here. You make sure that the 2 inches dart is intact. So achieving the dart for the main bodies of the corset, you just come down to the end line of the corset like this. You achieve 1 inch to the right and 1 inch to the left. So our 1 inch on both sides that we have on the bust line like so, we connect them together. So, and with this we are good to go. Remember, by the time you're cutting out, you are going to have this part also. So just make sure you still label this as your left hand side. This is your right hand side. So you could say this is 3 and this is 4. And so we have it this way. Now, what is left? You see, your corset pattern is so beautifully cut out like this. And you just connect your armhole point when I'm getting the horizontal dimensions right now. Right now, we want to be getting the horizontal dimensions for the bodies of the corset. Remember, you draw out this line, this point of the left-hand side of the corset pattern. That is what we're going to be using just for our chest line, also to the back panel. So, what are our measurement parameters? For the bust, we're using bust 38. And 38 divided by 4 is going to be giving us what? It's going to be giving us 9.5 inches. So you just come this way, you take your 9.5 inches. So, and we're going to be adding the 2 inches that is for the dart. So just like this. Then you come to the underbust line. What is the underbust measurement? The underbust is 32. 32 divided by 4 will give us 8. So this is your 8 inches. You take it this way. You also add the 2 inches allowance. the dart allowance. So like this. Then you come to your waist. The waist is 34. 34 divided by 4 is giving us 8.5. So we take it this way, and we also have the 2 inches allowance. Then we now come to the length of the corset. We're going to be using our hip circumference. That's 42. 42 divided by 4 will give us 10.5 inches. 10.5 like so. Just like this. Then you take your 2 inches allowance. Please don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. So you have it like this. So we connect the points together and we're good to go. Connecting the points like this. So you have it just like so. Right now we can just achieve our armhole points. So you achieve your armhole like this. Just come this way to this 3 inches inward. I'll leave the link to the basic bodies measurements. It's going to be I'll leave the link to the basic bodies video. It's going to be of help. So, and here is our corset pattern. So this is the yoke. This is the yoke part of it. This is your yoke. Yeah. And this is the corset itself. So the corset main bodice. So what do we do right now? We just cut out. Then you could add your inches. You could add your extra allowance. Whatever you want to use as extra allowance, you could add it here. I'm going to be using 2 inches extra allowance. Should I or should I not add it? So you could just add it here. Let me add it for the side so that it becomes easy. It's not compulsory. You could just add it on your fabric. So 2 inches across board, 2 inches, 2 inches. Just do an extension to this. And we are good to go. So we have our front panel this way. This is our front panel of the corset. The back panel is as easy as A and B and C. So what I'll do is just to extend this shoulder line to the back. And how did we get that? Just 1 inch away from the start of this. So I'm going to extend this so that we can have our back panel. Now we're moving on to the back panel, just like we've started, by achieving the origin, that's the shoulder line. This is the shoulder line for the back panel. So what do? We just move and start up for the back panel. The horizontal dimensions of our lines to the back. This is our bust line, this is the waist line, and this is the corset length. So what are we gonna be doing? First of all, we'll create towards the 1 inch zipper allowance at the back. So you just take your 1 inch this way to get it across board. 1 inch zipper allowance for the back panel. So you roll out. So right now, this is our center back. So normally for the yoke at the back, you're going to be using the same neck width. That is 3 inches width by 1.5 inches depth. Or whatever neckline you want to achieve, but this is just the standard. You could achieve any neckline for your yoke. So it all depends on you. So having done this way, so we take our shoulder measurement at the back, which is 7 inches. Remember, you not start from the zipper allowance, you start from the center back like this. 7.5 inches, 15 divided by 2. So you mark the point, you come down by 1 inch vertically like this for the shoulder slope. Then you connect to the neck width. So right now you come down to your 8 inches armhole line, like so. And then you get this. So right now for the back panel, we're not going to take any bust shape at the back panel, so it's just the simple that. So I'm going to count the waistline and say just the 4.5 inches nipple to nipple that I took on the front line, on the front panel. So 4.5 inches on the waistline like this, you take the point. On the bust line, you take the 4.5 inches point. Then you come to the length of the corset, you take the 4.5 inches point like this, but I'm going to go up. The dart is not going to be stopping on length, so I'm going up by 1 inches from the length of the corset like this. So I'm going to connect, and from the bust line, I don't want the dart to get to the bust line, so I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch like you've seen me touch it this way. So I'm just going to connect this point for the dart like this. So I'm going to be taking just 1 inch dart. That's 1/2 inch on both sides. And that will be from the waistline like this. So you take 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch to the left. So you connect from this point to this point and to the dart leg, just like so. So you have your darts this way, and we're almost done with the back panel. So we just take measurements parameters. So what's the measurement for the burst? Normally the burst is 38 divided by 4. That is giving us the normal 9.5 inches. 9.5 inches. Then I come to the waistline. It's worth the waist is 34. That's 8.5 inches. Then I'm going to add this 1 inch that I took for the dart intake. Then I come to the length of the corset. I'm going to take the circumference of the hips. That's 42 divided by 4. That's 10.5 inches. Just like so. Then I'm going to connect the points. So connecting like this. So you have the shape out this way. Then it's left to you. I could just add my 2 inches allowance that I added to the front, the stitching allowance that I So right now, the next thing is just to get the shape of my armhole. The midpoint is what? For this, it's 4 inches. Then I'll just connect like so. The back armhole, you don't need to go in. It's because of the curviness on the bust. So as to create room for the bust, that's why I go in on the front. So we just have it like so. To eliminate the zipper bulge, I'm just going to come to the waistline because our back is not straight. So I'll just go in by 1/2 inch. Then I'll shape it just like this. Then I also go inside this way, and I'll shape it same way. And you are good to go. So these are new zipper allowance, just like so. So it's going to eliminate the zipper bulge. And what's remaining, you can see this is still the yoke for the back panel. This is the center back for the corset. This is the center back for the yoke, and we are good to go. So this is the yoke for the back. So, and this the center back. And we, in less than how many minutes, we're already set for our corset. So what we'll do right now is we'll cut out, then we now go to the reversible part of the corset. What makes it the reversible corset? So you're going to see that. So we cut out this pattern and we'll place on a fabric to cut out. Yeah. So cutting out our corset pattern right now. This is the front panel and this is the back panel. So we'll start by cutting out. You've cut out the main corset this way. This is the right corset, the right hand corset. This is the left hand corset. So I labeled it 1 and 2. The left is 1, the right is 2. Then these, the main bodies of the corset, the right and the left. So you just have it this way. You have it this way. Then I'm going to cut the yoke right now. Yes, and this is the yoke for the front panel. So you make sure you notch this bust point on the left hand of the corset like so, and you notch it, then you also notch it on the right hand, such that by the time you'll be stitching, they must kiss, they must be together. So that's when you know that you've achieved your corset properly. So this is just how you have the front panels. So we take this away right now and we cut the back panel. So it's up to you if you want to remove the dart, but I'm not going to remove the dart. I'm just going to get the dart points by the time I'm stitching, then I'm going to stitch it. So with this we have the back panel. So I'll just cut off the yoke. Remember, this is the bust line and this is the neck point for the corset. So you could make it slanting if you want, or anyhow you want the shape to be. But I'm just going to make this straight. So with this, we have the back and the front panels ready. This is the back and this is the front panel. So right now, these are corset pattern. We have the front panel and we have the back panel. You can see it's looking so nice. So we have the yoke for the front panel, we have the yoke for the back panel. It all depends on you if you want it with the yoke. But actually in this course, I'm not going to be needing the yoke. I'm just going to be doing the corset only. So this is the front panel of the corset and this is the back panel of the corset, and I'm going to be cutting on the fabric, and you see the reversible side of what we're trying to achieve. So let's go there. So right now, cutting out our reversible corset pattern on our fabric is as easy as A and B and C. So I'll place the patterns on the fabric this way. This is the middle piece of the pattern, just like you can see it. This is the middle piece of the pattern. I placed it, I folded, just fold your fabric into two like this. Place the pattern, pin it down. Then this is the side panel of the front part of the front panel. I folded the fabric, then pinned it as well. So to cut out this, remember that when I did cut out the pattern, for the center piece, there was no allowance there. So right now, what I did was just to put the stitching allowance ½ inch round this way. Can you see? ½ inch, then ½ inch, ½ inch, ½ inch. Then for the hem line, I'm going to put 1 inch seam allowance this way. So I just connected, just like I connected normally. You chalk out, you roll it, and we cut out. So same thing I repeated for this place. Remember that this is the side panel for the front panel. So I also we only achieved the seam allowance on the side. I did not achieve seam allowance on the neckline, neck position, and the hemline. So I did that just now. ½ inch like this, ½ inch, and 1 inch, ½ inch. So what do we do now? We just cut out the front panel. So you open up this. Remember that this side panel, it's for the two sides of the front panel. So you have to cut it open like this, so that one will be to the right and the other will be to the left, just as you label right and just as we have the right and left. Okay, so this, we'll put this aside. Then we cut the back panel. So easy. This is the back panel. This is the center back for the neckline of the corset pattern. Remember, I've already added seam allowance to the side. So the only seam allowance I just need to add is ½ inch stitch allowance on the neck points of the corset, just like this. Then I come to the hem line. Also, I had 1 inch hemming allowance. So just like this. Then I'll cut out. I'll just place. I'm cutting the zipper allowance position on an open hand, so that I don't need to open again. I've forgotten the hem. So for the back panel and other panels, you have to indicate the position so that you not be confused while stitching. This is the neck position. So I'm going to do this with this arrow. Anywhere the arrow is facing, that's where I'll be stitching. This is the neck position. So I'm going to, just like, let me say it's the center back for the corset. I'm going to write it just center back, so that I'll not be confused while stitching. Then this, I'm going to be indicating that this is the side. This is the side, So, and this is the M. So that by the time I'm stitching, I will not be confused for the back panel. Then I'll do same. Then I'll do same for the front panel as well. So you have to indicate that this is your side, this is the side, so that you not be confused while stitching. This is the side. Yes, at least with this you know that this is the bust shape. So this is center front, is usually cut on fold. So with this, when I remove these pattern pieces, you're going to see what you are going to be having. But before I remove it, I want to do something. What is making this corset a reversible corset is what I'm going to be using two different fabrics, Ankara fabrics. I'm not going to be using lining. So each of the Ankara, one is going to stand as the real fabric, the other will serve as the reverse. And at your own spare time, you could just change and make the other the front and the other the reverse. So that's the reversible corset. So I'm just going to fold like they are right now and cut out these patterns again, just as if I'm cutting my lining, but it's actually the reverse. That's what I'm going to use to cover it up. Yes, so let me fold and do that. Then I cut out, and also on the side panel I did the same. I took half inch on the neck point of the corset, half inch, then on the M line 1 inch. Then I cut out this way. Then I cut this center open. Yes. And for the back, I just took half inch on the neck point and 1 inch on the lower M line, and then cut out. Right now, going into what actually makes this reversible corset is just about cutting out our fabric. Yes, so this is our fabric that we're using for the corset, the main part of the corset. The reversible corset just means that you're going to be having two sides of the corset that you can just change. Like now, this is going to be the front panel for now, and the back panel is going to be another fabric. It's not going to be a lining. Why? Because maybe after some months you could just decide you want to reverse it. All you need to do is just to change the sides and change the zipper position, and that's the reversible bonnet. So cutting out our fabrics according to our pattern right now, I've just placed this fabric on the pattern this way. So this is the middle piece of the front panel. I just folded into two, and the only thing I did was just to do what, this is the center front, this is the neckline of the corset. We don't need any allowance here, but by the side of the center front that we're going to be using to join to the side, I created half inch allowance just all around, like you can see. Half inch allowance, then I chalked out, then I cut it out. You just place your fabric this way. It's so easy. I just place the fabric, you fold into two. I'm doing this just because of the beginners. I just folded the fabric into two, place the pattern like this, then I created the half inch allowance like this, then I chalked out all around, like you can see. So you could just use your pattern master to also make sure it's straight. So that was all I did. I did same for the sides of the front panel as well, like this. I folded into two. Then after folding into two, the allowance, remember by the sides on this pattern paper, I've already added the seam allowance. So I don't need to add any allowance on the side. The only allowance I added, even on this center piece, was I also added 1 inch hemming allowance on the hem line like this. So here also at the sides of the front panel, I added 1 inch hemming allowance, and I added half inch to the front of the side panel that I will use to join to the center like this. So this will be the stitching allowance. Then I added half inch around and half inch on the neckline point. So I came to the back panel as well. I added just 1 inch on the hem line, yes, then half inch for joining on the leg position. Remember, I've added the sewing allowance to the side. So what I did was just to make sure that I folded all the fabric together for the front panel fabric and the reversible fabric. This is the front panel fabric, this is the reversible fabric. I folded into two. Then I folded cloth stay, stay. Also, I cut stay along all sides. I'm going to gum them right now, and you're going to see how it's going to come out before we start stitching. So that is that for this. Okay, the next thing is the bra shapes, the cup shape of the corset. I've yet to cut it out. So I cut, this is the pattern, these are pattern, these are pattern. This is visible pellon, or that's what it's called, but this is called wadding here in Nigeria. Wadding. We have the hard one, the soft, and the medium. I always prefer using the soft, but for this project I should have bought the hard. It will make it stand very well even when you're not wearing a bra. So if you want to buy, I advise you buy the hard wadding for the corset project, but this is the soft one. So what did I do? I just brought the two patterns. This is the right, this is the left. So I did what? I created seam allowance all around, half-inch seam allowance all around, half-inch seam allowance all around. Just chalk it out. That's just all I did. I've not done any of the thing. So just chalk out the half-inch seam allowance like so. So that's what I did all around. So I want to cut it out now. And another thing I did, you know, these two now will form one bra cup. So you need four. So I just folded this into two like this so that I don't have to be cutting all over again. So I'll just cut this out right now. Then we continue. So I'll notch like this so that I'll know that that's where they'll be kissing each other. So we're good to go. What we need to do right now is to cut this out on the fabric. Yes, on both the main fabric and the reversible fabric. Yeah. I've cut out the corset cup shapes, so we have everything for both the main fabric and the reversible fabric. Now we have all the pattern pieces and the interfacing cut out like so, just like this, and I have all this in place. So I just want to open them up so that you see. Then we also properly label the fabrics so that by the time we do stitching, we're not going to be having any challenge. So this is the center front. You should know that this is the side, so you could just maybe notch, like I've notched a bit. This is the side. This is the part we'll be affixing to the center front. So it's just like this for the main part. Then this is the reversible part. This is the reversible part. So it's going to be like this. It's not going to be having lining. So another day you could just decide to wear this part. That's what it means, the reversible bonnet. So I also have this in place for this. So I'll just place each of the fabric on this way. The essence of this is to make it stand properly, this edge stay. So I'm going to iron it, then it will give it a strong feeling. It will give it a little bit of weight and stamina. So that's it for that part. Then this is the back. This is the center front, center front. So we remove this. You already know that this is the part that is going to the side. Yeah. So this for the main part of the fabric now. So it's going to be this way. Then you have this underneath. Then you have this other part. So this is the front panel. So these are the cups, these are the back cups. So by the time we stitch, you're going to see how it's going to come out. So we have the front panel like this. So we're going to apply the ST. Then we have for the reversible side. So this is also the back panel. So I have notched this side also for us to know that this is the side. This is the zipper area. Then this is it. You just bring out this and this. And we are good to go for the back panel. So this is the back panel. These two notches help you to know that these are the zipper side. It's good you notch and indicate. So this is the origin or neck point of the corset, and this is the hemline. This is the hemline. This is the hemline. So just like that, I'm going to use iron to add all this to this, and this is the bra cup. So I'm going to label this as that this is what number 2, and it's the right side. Right side number 2. I'll do it for the second one too. Right number 2, so that I'll not do mistake when I'm doing it. You also try to do that on your fabric. Then I'll indicate that this is what is the first part, and it's the left. Is the first part, and it's the left, just like that. Then we stitch. Right now I'm done with applying the stay on the fabric. So it's this way. I've applied it everywhere. So this is the main part of the corset, the front fabric. Then this is like the lining, this is the reversible part. At another time I could just decide to use this part. Then these are the back panel. I've also applied the stay to them. So this is the main body, and this is the reversible body. So I'll go to the stitching table now and stitch this way. I'll stitch this way, right side of the middle panel facing the side panel. Then the other part also, I'll stitch it this way. Then I'll have one piece for the front panel. I'll repeat that for the lining, which is the reversible part. Then for the corset cups, I'll stitch this way, this right side and this left side facing. I'll make sure they are kissing this way. Then I'll stitch this way, just the center on 1/2 inch to this place for the other side and their fabric too. So let's do that. The two wordings of visible pellon for the back cup this way. You must ensure that they are kissing this way. The place that they are kissing, they should kiss, and it will end this way. So by the time you open up, you are going to be having the right shape. So you repeat same the other, just like so. Our bra cup is already getting ready. This is the right, this is the left. So you repeat same for the other one, and we stitch their fabric same. Now you can see this is the bra cups. I just want to show you how it's going. So these are the two bra cups. The right, these are the right for the reversible parts, and these are the left. So what I'm just going to do, like for me to arrive at this, was just that I took one of these right and one of this left, right side facing each other this way. I make sure that their kissing part is key. Then I stitch. I'm going to do that just now. That was what I did. And I arrived at this. Then I notched it open. I open pressed it at the reverse side and also at the right side. So I've done that for the main part of the fabric. That's how you're seeing it, like this, the main part of the fabric. So I've open pressed it for each. You have to, it's really tricky. You have to make sure that the right is going for the right and the left is going for the left. So I've done that. So I want to do the cover up for the back now. That is the lining, but it's actually the reversible part of the corset. So I'm just going to stitch like this. And one thing I want you to take note of what is that for the visible pellon or the wedding, I stitched on the ½ inch allowance we created, just like you can see. This is the ½ inch. The ½ inch allowance we created, I stitched on it and open pressed it. But for the fabric that will be covering the estee, I did not stitch on ½ inch. I stitched on 1/4 inch. Can you see that? I stitched on 1/4 inch. Why did I do that? Because if you stitch on ½ inch, it's not going to cover the bra cups very well. So I had to stitch on 1/4 inch. So stitching on 1/4 inch right now, I'm going to have, can you see? So it will properly cover the bra cups like this. So I'll just stitch and see and show you how to go about the rest. Stitching it this way, make sure that the kissing parts actually kisses. Then just like this. So when you open up, what you're going to do for it to arrive at what I arrived at, the other one is just that. Can you see? So this is how to arrive at the bra cup shape. Is already looking so pretty. So we just open your notch. You make sure that it's not close to where you stitched. Then you open press just to achieve it like I achieved for the other one, and you do for these other parts. Then we'll stitch. We'll continue. You can, right now you can see that I'm done with stitching the bra cup, the fabric, and this is how it looks. So nice. So just stitch round at the edges, not really on any allowance. Stitch round at the edges like this, so that it comes out this way, and I pins down first. So I'm going to do same to the next part, and all these excess parts I'm going to cut them off here. You can see that I've already used pin to affix the cup to the main bodies of the corset this way, and this is the ½ inch stitching allowance we created. So we're just going to stitch on that round. Yeah, right now we're almost done with the front panel of our reversible corset. Yeah, you can see this is the main front panel, and this is like the lining, which is the reverse. So like just you're having two corsets in one. So what we do right now is this reversible part of it, the lining, I'll just place it this way on the main bodies. Then I'm going to stitch round on the ½ inch just like this, and we'll continue. So I'll place everything together, right side facing each other like this. Then I'll stitch round. Then I'll stitch on the neckline like this. I'll stitch round. Yeah. So right now, after stitching round this way, what I did was just to cut off the excesses and I knot. Then by the time you turn in out like this, you already have your reversible bonnet. You could decide to wear it this way, you could decide to wear it this way, or you could decide to just reverse it. Anyone, so you're just having two in one. So I'm going to stitch the side. Okay, right now this is one part of the side panel, the back, the one side of the back panel. I mean, this is one side of the back panel. So how did I arrive at this? Let me just show you. So this is the reversible part. So this is it here, just like I told you. This is the main part of the corset, and this is the reversible part. This is the neck point. I had to mark everything so that I don't miss it. This is the neck point, and this is the hem line. So what I did was just to stitch around. Can you see the stitches very close to the edge of the fabric? I stitched around. This is the side. I stitched around. Then when I got to this place, you know, I didn't stitch the zipper points. You see, this is the fold for the zipper, is still there. So I stitched away just very close to the mouth, the extreme of this fabric this way. So when I got here, I stitched up to this point, then I top stitched. Then I left a 3 inches opening so that I'll be able to turn it in out. Can you see that? 3 inches opening. So I left this place without stitching, then I stitch the remaining part. So what I'll do right now is just to do it this way, bring it in out. So that was what I did to achieve the other one. So when I bring it out right now, I'm going to show you, and the 2 back panels to be of a reversible corset is out. Our back panel for the reversible corset is ready. You can see this is the part that I used to turn it in out. So you could just and stitch it, or I could use hemming gum and iron to stay it down. It's the zipper part. So this is the right side of the back panel. This is the zipper area. I'll just affix the zipper, you see. Then this is the wrong side. This is the reversible side. So you could decide to do what? You could decide to have this as your own part. You could just say, today I'm going to change my corset pattern. I'm going to wear it this way. That's why I'm leaving it to tell the dart. But normally, if you want to achieve the dart, you just take that start and achieve here. So, but if I achieve the dart here, when I want to do the reversible part, and I'll be losing and all that. But for the zipper, I could just change the zipper position anyhow, any day, and I just could wear this part of the reversible corset or this part. Yeah. So I'm going to affix the zipper, then the front panel, and we're good to go. Yeah. So we have the back panel like this, and of course we have the front panel as this. So what I want to do for this front panel was just what I did for the back panels to arrive. I created 3 inches. I stitched round this way. Left these 3 inches open, stitch round. We've done this stitching before and I've showed you. Then I top stitched. So I'll just bring it in out and show you. Then we'll affix the back on the front panel. The back panel on the front panel. As you can see, our reversible corset pattern and corset itself is here. So you could just place it this way and you still have your corset. All you need to do is just that you change the position of the zipper, and you will still have it in place like so. So you can see everything. I just chalked out the measurements of the bust. I just chalked out the measurements of the chest line, the bust, the under bust, the waist, just like so. I connected. So when you want to reverse it, you just turn this. This will be the reverse. Maybe other time that you want to change the pattern, and just like so. And before you know it, a reversible corset is here. Again.